Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is the day after the election, Wednesday, November 6th, the day before the Fed presser. We've got a decisive victory for Orange Cheeto Dust Man. So that means crypto is partying. BTC at a new all-time high. Alt's doing very well across the board. We'll take a look at those in a second. So this was certainly a win for the TA. The TA was right. We were bullish the whole time. We didn't even really see that much volatility, mainly because of the way the election was called, and called so decisively and early. There's going to be a lot of questions now on BTC. Where does this go? How high can it go? Is this a bull div? Is this overbought? Is this too much open interest? You know, there's a lot of like hyper specific stuff that I'd encourage people to just focus on where they think the puck is going. We've got regulatory clarity. Whether or not we see a Bitcoin reserve, I'll believe that when I see it. But we certainly have a less hostile regulatory environment. You can say that with 100% certainty. And that's been priced in for a little while now as far as what people were thinking would happen. That isn't to say we've reached the final level. But if we were to continue to apply TA on this, what would we look for? We can measure it a few different ways. I don't think there's anything else already there. I don't think there's anything clear cut, but this was one idea and something that takes months to play out. You have to give it time to get to the target, right? So we have a FOMC meeting this week. We have whatever else next week. Like, okay, great. But at this point, it's an active breakout. Your stop loss would be 66666, whatever that is down there, .66. And you let it do its thing, right? Now we can pop on Williams fractals on the daily, and you also have a fractal level there. So not really rocket surgery here. High time frames, very bullish. Bollinger Bands on the weekly breakout, you know, anything you can measure, very bullish. We can even take this back further if you want to just go peak to trough. Where does that go? That brings you to 100. I think that's probably not something we're going to see until closer to the end of the year, but you know, enjoy the ride as far as price action goes. But trend metrics for BTC still look very good. ETH USD also having quite a day, doing very, very well. Sol doing very, very well. It is in the zone for completing the horizontal level. It's hit the inverted head and shoulders target. It wouldn't surprise me if we get some sort of consolidation around 200. ETH is still going to need some consolidation, likely probably around 2,700. And this doesn't have to be months. It probably won't even be weeks, but it'll probably be a little bit of something, just acknowledging resistance there. But this is a complete shift, a 180 from the current environment, the current ecosystem, the current treatment of alts in the United States. There's certainly an expectation we will get more products for all of this regulated. We will get, again, regulatory clarity. Can't hit that home enough. Does that mean alts are going to outperform BTC? Maybe. That's what a lot of people think. And it's certainly safer to trade that way now than it was before the election or any time up until now. Dominance still hitting cycle highs. It hasn't stopped. So it's not like dominance is rolling over in a concerning way. It's not like dominance is printing anything that's concerning. All that still looks very good. And really, I highlight ETH and Sol, but a lot of this stuff just still hasn't really gone anywhere. BNB still looks okay. It's at a horizontal. SUI broke out. Okay, fine. Say, not really doing much of anything. Apt sideways. Rune trying to hang in there. STX sideways. ICP sideways. ADA sideways. AVAX probably higher on the watch list than most of this stuff, but still fairly sideways. Link, ETH beta looks okay. Still fairly sideways. Hasn't broken out yet. DOT still looks not great to me. LTC looks okay. You know, none of this stuff to me is like screaming, hey, I better sell my BTC here because look how great this looks. Velo, I have no idea why this is up 20% today. GRT, right? All this stuff is just bouncing off of lows or barely above multi-month lows or barely above all-time lows. So yeah, it's been a good day and it'll probably be a good quarter and it'll be a good 2025, but is this going to outperform BTC? Is always the question you should be asking. Matic, abysmal, right? This probably doesn't even have a bull div on the daily. On the weekly it kind of does, but for me, it's still a little early on some of this stuff to just throw up your hands and say, yeah, man, do whatever, throw spaghetti on the wall. I don't think we're quite there for a lot of this stuff. For the meme coins, still looks okay. You know, I thought some of this stuff would look better than it does. I mean, obviously 15% on the day is insane, but trend-wise, I mean, let's be honest, right? Does this look like anything that you want to play around with? Not really. Shib, I think, looks better than most. Pepe looks okay. You know, like we're like a week or two out from this stuff just all looking finally much better than it has for the entire year. Now, Doge, the outlier, broke out. But what did we get? We got the bullish Kumo breakout on the daily. We don't have this on almost anything. Again, TA works, okay? I don't know what to tell people. You take the measured move. This was the target. We hit the target. Do I think Doge is going to continue to outperform from here? I don't know. Probably not. But it still looks better than almost everything and has looked better than almost everything. You can say, well, this is a 3 drives. There's a little bit of a bear div there. That's all true. And clearly there's been a lot of profit taking on that. Floki, sideways, whiff, sideways. The other thing is some of this stuff is either Sol beta or ETH beta. And both Sol and ETH really haven't even broken out yet. Sol is just getting back to the highs, whereas BTC is already pushing all-time highs and beyond. So if you want to skate to where the puck is going, and you're just assuming that Sol is going to be bullish, ETH is going to be bullish, and we're just going to go beta, beta, beta. Okay, right? That's a way you can trade this. But the trend metrics still not quite there for most of this stuff. Sui obviously has been bullish for quite some time. On Total 2 is pretty much there as far as where you'd want it to be. Bullish cloud, bullish TK cross at the 200-day moving average. From here on out, as long as it can hold above the cloud, it should be good to go, right? Just like October last year. Doesn't mean it's going to send a 2x, a 3x from here, but it's definitely bullish. You cannot deny that it's more bullish here than it was pretty much at any point on the way down. Total 2 BTC looks not so great, right? Now the question here is, does it look bad enough to buy? That's a tough question to answer, but we can look at things like divergences, and it's probably easier to do this on individual charts. Like ETH BTC actually has a pretty big bull divergence that we'll look at. But what you'd really want to see, what I'd want to see, is some sort of rejection wick, like a stab way down and then a pull up. So I don't think it looks bad enough to buy, but it's definitely getting stretched. Now, it is a million miles, light years away from being bullish on trend. But if you were to start to take a chance based on technicals plus fundamentals plus regulatory clarity, whatever else you want to talk about, why not? Why not? But it's definitely not trend bullish. Definitely not trend bullish. One thing that is trend bullish is ARK, ARKK. Guess what? Broke out of the weekly a couple weeks ago on the cloud, and today it broke up. Now, all this craziness today could just be honeymoon for inevitability of things rolling over later on because yields are too high or the dollar is too high, right? You can make up a million things. But the TA has still been bullish for most of this time on BTC, and it's still been bearish for most of this, for most alts. That's just true. So you certainly have to have a plan and make a decision on where you want to allocate appropriately. Funding here for BTC is extremely low, and that is a good thing. This is where funding was the last time we were at 75. It was extremely high, right? So this is definitely something to follow as we push up. Again, this looks fine. If you back this out, what is there to be bearish about? I don't even know. I mean, you've waited how long? What is there? I'm tripping over my words. I'm so bullish, honestly. Like, what else is there to do? Funding across the board also looks fine. Doesn't look bad at all. Now we do have Mt. Gox with 44,000 coins moving around. We do have the US government with 208,000 BTC. Fine, okay. Like, let them sell them. They don't sell them. They go into the Bitcoin reserve. What do we care at this point? What do we care? I hope that they do sell them before the end of the year, and then that's a buyable dip, okay? Like, great, awesome. Like, what does it matter? You know, what does it really matter? Before we go any further here, let me mention today's video sponsor, Kraken Pro. Kraken Pro is a complete overhaul of the Kraken trading experience with a one-stop shop for advanced and professional traders. Kraken Pro enables efficient trading execution across multiple markets with a UI that allows for unique optimization tailored to your trading style. You can check out Kraken Pro with a link in the description of this video. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Cryptocurrency services are provided to US and US territory customers by Payroll Ventures Inc., PBI, DBA, Kraken. So like I said, let's take a look at the BTC charts, because really that's where you should be looking anyway. BTC is the benchmark. If you're not beating the benchmark, what's the point? And maybe more importantly, you can see stuff like this. On Sol BTC, this looks like a tradable ascending triangle. Previously, it had all sorts of bearish attempts to break down. Over and over and over, this thing tried to break down. Cloud on the daily is a mess, so it's not really going to tell you much. If we bump this up to the 3-day, not the 3-week, the 3-day, it looks okay. It's neutral, right? But the moment it gets above 0265 or whatever that is, 00265, game on, game on. This does not have a bearish expectation when you see an ascending triangle like this. RSI looks fine, no issues there. So it certainly looks like a strong candidate going into 2025. ETH BTC, many have talked about this, including myself, for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. This is bullish on exactly 0 timeframes, to be extremely clear. All right. But what we have a little bit of a falling wedge, sort of. It's more of a channel, depending on how you want to draw this. But I think the more important thing here on the daily is we are starting to get a bullish divergence. And at this point, it's been several months, which just means the weak or the bearish momentum is weakening. It's getting harder to push this down. Now, there is nothing more bearish than a slow bleed, I'll give you that. But a slow bleed plus a divergence is usually a decent sign to start to take a stab on something. We don't have a massive rejection wick down here, and I still see on-chain evidence of ICO holders selling. So there's still lots of capitulation going on, but I don't hate attempts down here. Maybe this turns into a dragonfly on the weekly, maybe. But do you know how many dragonflies we've had? We've had a swamp full of dragonflies on the way down. It hasn't mattered at all. Now we are at a horizontal. This looks fine, and I certainly haven't been one of these people who've been bullish on ETH BTC this entire time. But to see the divergence on the daily, to see a potential channel wedge puke thing, right? Sure, right. And again, regulatory clarity, very, very important. Gold BTC down bigly today, which is what we want to see. We don't want to compete with gold. And there was a diagonal support rising channel that also appears to have broken down. Daily cloud there. Pretty definitive on the weekly cloud. Also, it's really been bearish for a while. It just sort of started to regain positive momentum. Monero, one of the few places you can trade Monero is Kraken. And this just isn't bullish. It's turtle soup. It's a random walk. It's all over the place. It's certainly more bearish than bullish. Ripple, same thing, more bearish than bullish. Is this a new, I don't think this is an all-time low, but it's a Kraken significant low for Ripple BTC. So that is very, very bearish for Ripple against BTC in the moment. BCH, sure, why not? Bearish, right? This is why you look at these charts versus the USD charts. You can either trade 10,000 alts, or you can use the benchmark, trade one thing, and then maybe move into a few of these things that you like against the benchmark. This probably has, kind of a bull div, kind of a channel. It's just not for me. I would never trade BCH to the long side at this point. ADA, massive channel, massive wedge, hasn't mattered. This might be, it might be close to an all-time low for ADA. It's in that territory. For a lot of these, probably going to take a long time to bottom. Even with ETH, I wouldn't expect a random V bottom. You could get a VU over the next 6 months. ETH tends to do better on the first half of the year, but this looks extremely bearish to me still. SCBTC, SIA, all-time low, I believe, or close to it. Certainly not very bullish. And, you don't have to be the bottom wick. You can wait till you see a little bit of strength. LTC, BTC also pushing, probably not all-time lows, but pushing lows. So yes, alts are doing well on the USD pair today, but they've done poorly for so long against BTC. They have, this is just wild. DOT has 1,000% just to get back to break even from 2021. What? Do we really think that's going to happen? I don't think that's going to happen. I think this probably gets delisted before that happens, if I had to take a bet. So no, stuff like this just isn't for me. It's not worth playing around. Tron, for the most part, has just been sideways. So again, I don't think there's ever really been a great trade there. Aave up 17% today against BTC. You can't really tell. Let's be honest. I mean, it doesn't look like much. Sideways. Is this a fresh breakout? No. Is it a fresh trend reversal? I mean, maybe. I just don't see anything super convincing. Maybe into 2025 above like 0027. Sure. But I think it's a bit early to sit and wait in some of this stuff. And BTC is literally pushing all-time highs today, this week, probably tomorrow, probably next week, probably next month, probably into the end of the year, right? Like, you have to think about it like that, where a lot of these coins, even Uniswap, obviously massive on a less hostile regulatory body, but is that going to help it outperform BTC in the next couple of months? I don't know. Technical is not really on your side there for that one. Link also looks just sad. You want to see this, at least something above the cloud. We're just not there yet. So yeah, you can always at any point say, okay, I think this is the bottom, regulatory clarity, et cetera, stop loss, new lows, right? You can always do that, but you've just gotten steamrolled this entire time trying to do that. So I don't see anything particularly encouraging on Link BTC. Maker also just free fall. They had some sort of, I don't even know what to call it, governance thing. They switched tokens. They're going to switch back. I don't know. It sounds like it's a mess over there. I haven't really followed it. Atom, this one really fell off a cliff. Continues. I mean, this is coin issuance differential right here. This is inflation of Atom versus BTC just playing out. It's just never ending relative to BTC. So it makes sense. It should be losing. Matic, same thing, same story. Who's here to buy this? Nobody. It's just money printing over and over and over again. So for the most part, which coins look good against BTC? Which coins look good enough? You could argue, if you want Sol beta or ETH beta or DeFi, because DeFi is probably going to get some regulatory clarity. Like, you can take those speculative bets. You just don't really have technicals on your side for that. Now, we talked about Sol. Sol to me looks the strongest against BTC. Doge already has looked great, continues to look great. I don't think it's late. I think there's plenty of room. I think there's a weekly edge to edge. I think Doge, Elon, et cetera, does well. I like trading strength over weakness. So sure, why not? Why not Doge here, right? And for me personally, if I'm taking a speculative punt on anything, it's going to be something that looks like this. It's going to be a name that everybody knows, something that's generally leading in volume and has eyeballs, right? Because if this does reverse or start to reverse, it's going to get momentum just on its own from people saying, oh, this thing's finally going up. I thought it was dead. So for the most part, alts should do well on USD pairs. They probably won't broadly overperform BTC until BTC is at least at 100K and we're reconsolidating again. It does look like BTC is going to continue to me for the next, at least till the end of the year, right? Next couple months. And things have definitely changed in attitudes towards regulatory hostility in digital assets. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.